All right? It gets a little confusing, but I don't want you guys to freak out because this is not like a main important thing, OK? But if we're going to use the cosine theta, we're going to have to use that. And remember, that depends on where is theta divided by 2. So what we have to do to understand this is here's theta. But really, guys, this is really like kind of like theta prime. Well, actually, let's just use it as theta. And let's call this alpha. Is the value of alpha as well as theta the exact same as far as in terms of like using the unit circle? If you guys kind of remember what we did when we first learned about the unit circle, is if I gave you alpha, I said find theta, which in this case is the reference angle, right? The value is the same. The difference is then you just find this value, like since this is in the third quadrant, then you apply the certain sign. Do you guys kind of remember that? Like, because again, what we did was I said, you know, I told you to memorize this portion on the unit circle. So it has the same value. It's just in the third quadrant, which makes it negative, right? So what I'm trying to explain here is alpha is kind of like is really equivalent in value to theta. So the question is well, where is this like theta prime? And it's kind of gets a little confusing. Remember, we got to figure out, well, where is theta prime in relationship to which quadrant it is in? So I'm going to treat theta prime as alpha. All right? So what is the half angle of alpha? If alpha is from here to here, what is half of that? So let's just pick red. Like if you were to take this angle and then divide that into 2, right? Which quadrant would that be in?
Second.
It has to be in the second. I don't care where this angle is. Since this angle lands in the third quadrant, whenever you divide it by 2, you're always going to have the half angle in the second quadrant. Always. Right? Because the only time it would be less than that, like let's say it was pi, then it would be at pi halves. So anything greater than pi, the angle is going to be in the second quadrant. You guys agree? So what that means, guys, is like basically alpha divided by 2, which is equivalent to this, is in the second quadrant. So what does that tell you about cosine? Or the cosine of the half angle is now going to be negative, right? So we have to use the negative form here. So it's going to be negative square root of cosine, of 1 plus cosine of theta divided by 2. Now, what is the cosine of our theta? Again, we can just use the theta from this triangle. And that is going to be cosine of theta. That's going to be negative 3 over 5. So it's going to be 1 plus negative 3 over 5 divided by 2. Again, we have a fraction within a fraction. So I'm going to multiply everything times 5 over 5. And negative square root of 1. I'm sorry, that's not 1. You got to apply distributive property, right? So it's 5 minus 3 divided by 10, which equals a negative square root of 2 over 10. Can I simplify that to 1/5? Can I now break that down into negative 1 over the square root of 5 and then rationalize that denominator? And that's what I'd be looking for. OK? Now, the negative thing, guys,